Compulsion to repeat. It's a term in psychology, and it refers to the way that our brains are hardwired to attempt to relive our traumatic experiences, but from a position of control until we've resolved the trauma of some previous experience that has wired our neuroplastic brain. Until we relive it from a position of control, it won't be resolved. So we feel something called the compulsion to repeat. That is to recreate the circumstances of the trauma, whether it's in a relationship or some other aspect of our lives, but typically in relationships, to give ourselves an opportunity to control the circumstances and figure out how to resolve the trauma in case it ever happens again. Leonard Cohen wrote a book called Playful Parenting, and he talked about how children will use play to relive their stressful experiences from a position of control so that they don't wind up with trauma. If the child is unable to use play and resolve it in this way in which they feel agency, that's how we get something called complex PTSD. So he wrote about an example. It's a great example for these times. Suppose you have a daughter and she's at that age where she needs vaccinations. You take her to the doctor or the nurse, and the medical professional says, well, this won't hurt, just a little bit. And the daughter's like, no, it hurts. She has a stressful experience. What does she want to do when she gets home? She wants to play doctor's office. But she doesn't play the role of the patient. She will take her dolly and she will say, come on, dolly, it's time to play. You've got to get your shots. And the dolly will say, no. And your daughter will relive the stressful experience, but from the position of control of the person administering the shot, not the person receiving the shot. And this resolves the stressful experience and allows her to go on about her life without trauma. Well, it's not just human beings. When I say that we're hardwired for this, it's all sorts of mammalian, cognitively capable, complex social creatures. I learned that one from a different book, Peter Levine's Trauma and Memory. He talks about how animals will do it too. And I'll read you a passage. He says, what follows is an example of how the timely updating of memories serves evolution's adaptive dictate to continually upgrade our capacity to outwit our predators or to circumvent future life-threatening circumstances. A delightful BBC National Geographic nature film shows a scene where a lion is chasing 3 young cheetah cubs, just barely escaping their demise by scrambling up a tree. The cubs wait with patient vigilance for the lion to vacate the premises. Then they climb down, one by one, and take turns chasing the other 2, just as the lion had. However, during this play period, the viewer is struck by how the cubs try out multiple strategies and permutations of their successful escape. In this way, they have not only escaped on this particular occasion, in this particular manner, but they've also improved their performance and the likelihood of escape in future predator-prey encounters. So this compulsion to repeat the stressful events of our lives, it serves an evolutionary purpose, which is to keep us alive. We play things out in our imagination until we think we've got them figured out, until we're able to resolve them so that we have the confidence if we're ever faced with that situation again, we'll be fine. Besser van der Kolk writes about this in his book, The Body Keeps the Score, and how improv theater can be a healing modality for people suffering from PTSD and complex PTSD. They recreate the scene of a trauma. They play out with the characters who represent those that participated in the trauma, and they allow the subject the control necessary to replay the trauma. When we get into the ice bath, we activate the same aspects of our nervous system that create that fight or flight stress response. We take control of our breathing. We take control of our thoughts. We tell ourselves we are safe. We're in control. And when we emerge, we feel like we have cheated